because it's a contract one. But yeah, go ahead with that one because I mean it's been the biggest one of the week.
It has been the biggest one this week. Well, we've got two big ones if you're a Packers fan. Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers. What's up, guys? Exley's on the NFL, and I'm Tony. That's Stephen. Just before we jump into it, we have to shout out the American Sports Discount Store, uk.co.uk. They're on Etsy. They've got their own website, which is there. It's scrolling along the bottom. And apparently they're on What's Not as well. I don't know if you can use our code on Whatnot, but everywhere else is Exley's 2025 for 25% off and free delivery. You get some sick jerseys. I'm pretty sure they've got pretty much everything. And if they haven't got it, you could probably message them and ask them if they can get it. And yeah, use our code XLEAS2025 for 25% off and free UK delivery. Anyway, we've got some top stories this week. I see that you have moved what I thought was a top story down to contracts. That is...
I mean, we all saw it coming.
Everybody's seen that coming. Every man and his dog seen that coming. I don't think everyone's seen...
too long.
Yeah, I don't think everyone's seen the money that he's getting was going to be what he's getting.
A recent thing.
He's getting a 1-year deal. I think now he's going to be on 1-year deals rolling.
Well, I think the big thing is, and I think part of the reason is, I think if he does well and he becomes league MVP or Super Bowl, I think he'll go. I think he'll retire.
Yeah,
I think that's what he's looking for. He's looking to go out on top, looking for that big win, and then retire.
Yeah. So he is getting a guaranteed $10 million and a base of 13.65 million. Aaron Rodgers has been on the phone with Tomlin and Arthur Smith about reshaping the offense. So 1 year, 13.65 million, 10 million signing bonus, 14.15 million cap hit for the Steelers, taking him. It's got a 5.85 million incentive package. I didn't see all this.
Yeah, this I found today.
500k for a playoff berth. Wildcard win is 600k. Divisional win is 750k win. Conference champion, 1 million. Super Bowl win, 1.5 million. League MP, 1.5 million. He could get a big pay packet.
Yeah, he could get a fat payday if he gets all that. I mean, it's asking a lot. They're usually a 10-17 edge of the playoffs, wild card, get knocked out. I think this is to try and incentivize them to get to somewhere conference or divisional, something further than they usually get. Because they've taken him, they've taken D, they've taken a few new people on, got rid of some of the old players. They're really trying to push for that championship.
I hope they do.
It's not impossible.
I really hope he does something. I'm just looking at their schedule now.
I mean, it's not impossible. I think the biggest thing is going to be what happens with Rodgers.
Yeah. I do think it's funny now. He's gone to the Steelers. He's going to face the Jets. He's going to face the Packers. He's going to face the Vikings. And he's going to face the Bears.
He's got to play the whole NFC North pretty much, even though he's not part of it.
I'm so looking forward to the Packers-Steelers game. Love versus Rodgers.
I think it would have been even better if they had a Detroit game as well. The whole conference, the whole division.
Yeah, that would have been
But that's the Eagles this year.
I am booking that day off. I'm going to try and book off October the 20th.
What, the Packers game?
Yeah, so it's 12 for us, but I will book off the 28th so I can watch it.
I've booked a load of the later games off for the Eagles, and I've made sure to book off the Packers-Eagles game.
Have you?
Well, I can't remember what time that is, but it doesn't matter. I'm not going to work the next day.
So come off it. Should have looked at this way before this. I'm just looking it up now. So Packers, Eagles. Yes, 1:15 in the morning.
Yeah, I'm glad I booked that off then.
No, text me because I'll probably be asleep.
But speaking of Packers, you've got one for that, haven't you?
Jaire Alexander has been released by Green Bay. A source told ESPN after the sides couldn't come to an agreement on a revised contract, the Packers
and Bills held trade talks.
Yeah. Centered around Jaire, but talks immediately fell through and Buffalo moved on. It's unclear if the Bills will revisit things now that Alexander has been released, especially since they spent a first-round pick on Maxwell Hairston. But they were a team that showed real interest. So Jaire was a first round, 18th overall pick in 2018. He's been with us 7 seasons, 78 regular season games, 302 tackles, 232 solo tackles, 12 interceptions, 1 for a return, 80 passes defended, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 1.5 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits, second team All-Pro 2020 and 2022, 2 Pro Bowls 2020 and 2022, all rookie team in 2018. It is going to be a big loss for the
I
Packers.
do want to say, though, and he is a great player. Mm-hmm. I seen a thing earlier that apparently he's missed like 20 games in the last 2 seasons.
I was literally about to say that.
I think that would be his biggest downside is his injury risk.
Yeah, he was injured a lot of last season and the season before. So it's not like we are... Obviously, we're losing our star cornerback, but we've made do without him.
I was going to say, you've had to work without him for the last couple of seasons in key spots, so you kind of started developing some other pieces.
We've still got 10 cornerbacks anyway.
Yeah, I expect that number will get whittled down by the season.
We've got 14 wide receivers. It's 12 or 14 wide receivers as well.
I mean, it doesn't matter how many the Eagles take. There's 2 guaranteed spots that are already filled.
I was looking at it today.
Yeah, I think you guys have got a few things not all your spots, but a few key spots, cornerback and receiver, to figure out.
Yeah, so where are we? This is wide receivers now. Sam Jr. Brown, Romeo Doubs, Matthew Golden, McCole Hardman, Malik Heath, Julian Wicks, Cornelius Johnson, Bo Melton, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, who is our wide receiver 1.
But again, injury prone.
Yeah, it was knee towards the end of the season last year. Devontae Wicks, Savion Williams. So we are fully loaded at the moment. Obviously, everybody's not going to make it. But last season, we had on our starting lineup Romeo Doubs, McCole Hardman, Malik Heath, Bo Melton, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, and Devontae Wicks. It's going to be interesting to see if Matthew Golden slots into there nicely, because from all the footage I've seen of him, he is a weapon all round.
I personally think if he hasn't been guaranteed R3, he's probably fighting for 1 or 2.
Yeah, 100%.
I think he's almost guaranteed a spot, at least in certain packages, certain plays. I just don't know. Until you go through training camp and OTAs and everything, you don't know where they're going to fit.
No, this is it. Every clip I've seen of him in OTAs, him and J Love seem to have that kind of clicking connection and seem to be working really well together. Time will tell. If you think about it, the season's not that far away now.
No, it's September, so
it's getting closer.
3 months?
In June, almost mid-June. Yeah, that's pretty good.
On another one, it's technically not NFL, but it is kind of. Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie is donating $50 million as a gift to open the Lurie Autism Institute in partnership with Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and Penn Medicine. He announced it at time of recording day, so by the time this goes out, it'll be a day behind. But
yeah.
It's going to be the first of its kind. It's apparently one of the biggest donations to a hospital.
It's a hefty chunk of money.
It is. It's not like, a lot of celebrities or whatever give 1 or 2. It's $50 million.
Yeah. Eagles do a lot for autism.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly, but I believe either his brother or his son or someone is autistic. So that's why he's so heavily involved in it.
Yeah, autism plays a part in everybody's life now. I think there's a lot of autism.
I think it's become a lot more known. I think that's the difference. It's always
definitely
been there. It's just there's a lot more people open to talk about it.
It's a good thing. We should talk about everything.
Yeah, and I think one of the good things is it's not just like this is the first thing he's done. Every year they do the autism challenge.
Yeah.
Where you can run,
Eagles,
ride. There's all sorts of different distances. In the bike ride, there's a 5, a 10, and like a 20-kilometer ride as well. They get half the team get involved in it every year.
It's the Eagles Autism Foundation, I think it's called.
Yeah, he's got a whole foundation, and I think that's what pushed for a lot of the stadiums to have these what they call safe space for kids and stuff for people with autism and all sorts of learning disabilities, and that they can go in this quiet and they, And I think that was a big thing for starting it, which I think is good because, you want to be able to go to a game but you can't necessarily take a kid if they can't enjoy it, whatever.
Yeah, exactly that.
I think I don't know what will come of it. Hopefully, either more understanding at least for it, if not providing more care, I think will be the big thing.
Yeah. Veteran NFL wide receiver Chris Conley, who most recently played for the 49ers, has decided to retire after 10 seasons to follow his dream. His agent, Jonathan Presley of Sports Star NYC said Conley is heading to film school back at UGA to pursue dreams of being a filmmaker. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite a shift, though.
Yeah, it's a massive shift.
Being a 10-year vet in the NFL, wide receiver as well, so he's going to have been on some money. Not necessarily today's mega money, but he's a wide receiver. They're usually on pretty good money.
Yeah.
To give that up and then go back to school to study to go into films. A lot of them just kind of work their way in because they're a celebrity or something, you know. Do a few appearances in films and what have you, but he's going back to school and to study the whole thing.
But hey, Ice, Jesus. We were talking about that and you said wide receiver, not a mega money. Kind of reminded me, I've seen two things about college football this week. One, they are now allowed to directly pay athletes in college.
Yeah.
I think that's
ridiculous.
Bonkers, man.
Kids at college shouldn't be getting the kind of money they're getting from the start.
No, I'll leave all that a minute. I use that to make titles. I've started doing it this week too because I can never remember by the end. But yeah, I don't think they should be getting the sort of money they're getting anyway.
Yeah,
in college,
100%.
Why would you want to aspire to go to the NFL if you play a high level? But some of them are making money that they should only be making when they're top level. Yeah. College and the NFL are not the same level.
I think, if anything, the most you should be able to make in college is what you would earn as a rookie in the NFL. You're supposed to be there to learn and to get better.
Apprenticeship kind of thing, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
You're supposed to be learning the game, getting good at it, to be able to get selected to go to the NFL, not to go to the NFL and then take a pay cut.
And the second thing I've seen this week about the college athletes or whatever, so I don't know how true it is. I just seen someone on TikTok talking about it. So college football 2026 is coming out, and apparently they're going to get paid a percentage for every time a particular college team is used in the game.
I heard something about that. I don't know how true it is, how it's going to work, or any of that.
It's an online-based game, so they would know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you imagine that for the lower level colleges or whatever?
That's where it's going to hurt. Because then those lower colleges, that even if they're put in the game, aren't going to get selected.
They could do. I know people who use the lower level teams to see if they could build that franchise.
Yeah, but they're not going to get picked because there's going to be people that do that. But you think about it like this. It's a bit like, so I played some Call of Duty yesterday. For the first time in probably a year. I just go on it, fuck around, come off. And then you get people who go on there every day because it's part of their career, so to speak. You know, they make a living out of that.
Yeah.
Those people aren't going to pick, those type of people aren't going to pick those lower level colleges.
No, probably not.
Do you know what I mean? I might go on there, fuck around with one of the lower colleges, try and build it, like you're saying. But the percentage differences that are going to be picking those lower to those higher teams are going to be so vastly different that I don't think. Because the other thing is, it doesn't say, it didn't say, and I couldn't see anything about what the sort of pay would be for picking those.
No,
I can't see it being mega money.
No, it's going to be like a $1 a team selection or whatever. But if you look at it as 300,000 people pick, I can't even think of a low-level team right now, but 300,000 people pick that team. They are then getting 300. So, and I can't remember what the statistics were for college football 2025 that came out, but it was millions the first day. Yeah,
I think the other thing is it doesn't say exactly if you just pick that they get the cash, or if it's you pick that and play as that. Because I mean, if it was just a pick thing, I would encourage everyone to go on and pick those lower schools.
100%. Help them teams out, and they could potentially get themselves some decent players to help them out to progress their team. Because this is what we want. We're about NFL, about American football, everybody that...
The thing is, it all starts at the bottom. You know, you play it as a kid, you go to school, high school, and you play it. You go to college, you play it, you go to the NFL. So without them kids playing it, you don't get the NFL playing.
And if they're in a low-level high school, they never potentially get seen by a high-level college or whatever. They may never make their dream.
I think that's a bit different though these days. I think that used to happen a lot more than it does now.
Yeah.
Because of social media, you can be seen a lot easier. If you're that good, you stand out from everybody else. So that I don't think applies as much. But they're not going to get the funding to be able. I heard a thing that some school had to close its program because they didn't have the money to fund it.
It's mad.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was like one of these random schools that had like 100,000 people in America or something stupid, really small schools. But they had to close some wild percentage of their school funding had been taken away. Like 20% of their funding had been taken away or something. And they had to obviously drop the unimportant things for that school. And unfortunately, the football wasn't getting anywhere. So they had to drop that.
Mate, I'm a strong advocate that we should be playing American football over here.
Yeah, at least flag.
Yeah, especially in schools. Because I could think of at least 4 sports I would drop and have that in school.
Oh, mate, if I could have played it in school, I would have been at PE every day and been happy to be there.
Tennis, fucking, what they call it, hockey. So not ice hockey before everyone comes for me.
Yeah, the grass hockey.
Yeah, field hockey, boring as fuck. Tennis, boring as fuck. Badminton, boring as fuck.
I got banned from playing badminton because I used to serve it like it was a tennis ball, and of course I hit a few people in the face with it, and they weren't happy. So I got banned from that.
Our sports shit in school.
The only one I enjoyed, which I only did at one school, was rugby.
It was non-contact when I was at school.
No, this is when we went up to. You remember when we moved up to Kent for a while?
Yeah.
They did it up there, but it was full contact. I mean, remember by this point I was halfway through year 10, so we were more grown.
Yeah,
but that was much more fun.
What else? Can't think of any others. There's so many sports that don't teach you anything in school. Is what I'm getting at.
And I think that's something that will teach you things because I mean, you look at just normal football, what we call football over here. Everyone wants to be that star. Everyone wants to be the guy who scores the goal. In the NFL type style football, American style football, everybody has a role to play. Linemen aren't going in for scores, but without the lineman, the quarterback can't make a play. The quarterback is only going to be able to make as good of a play as he's got receivers or running backs.
Yeah.
So, everybody has their job to play.
We digress.
Always.
So on the trading block, Dolphins and star cornerback Jalen Ramsey continues to work towards a trade. Ramsey's not planning to attend mandatory minicamp. Sources say he'll stay away as the situation works to a conclusion.
I think he's staying away because what's the point of him going in? He knows he's leaving.
He doesn't want to be there.
No. And I understand it to a degree, but at the same time, I think it's good of Dolphins to not just say, right, fuck you, we're done with you.
Yeah.
They're actually trying to find him somewhere to go.
Same, TJ Watt and Trey Hendrickson are both seeking new contracts and won't be going to minicamp.
Yeah.
It's a lot more of that now. The season is getting closer. We're going to see more people
with long contracts.
Yeah, especially people that have been impactful players in previous seasons.
Yeah, well, if you look a bit further down, the Trey Hendrickson and TJ Watt led the NFL in sacks the past 2 seasons. Trey Hendrickson had 35 last season, and TJ had 30 points. I would be very surprised if they let Hendrickson go.
Yeah.
Who else have they got that makes his kind of plays? And they did not do very well on defense last season at all.
No.
So they need all the help they can get.
They've already been fined 104,000 doll hairs in 3 days.
Well, that's what they'll get for missing the first 3 days of camp, because it's apparently a 3-day mini camp, and that's what they'll get fined for missing all 3 days. It goes up progressively each day they miss. If their contracts go the way they want them to, that money's almost going to be irrelevant. I don't think it's a good thing as such, but I understand a little bit where the Bengals come from with the fact of how much they've paid Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, and what's the other receiver? Yeah, I mean, like half their budget apparently for the year has gone to those 3 players. I can understand them not wanting to pay him, but at the same time, your defense is bad already. Mm-hmm. You need to keep him.
Yeah. And
I think spending that much money on those 3 players was not the best move. I think that will hurt them in the years to come.
Seahawks have agreed to terms with Michael Dickerson on a 4-year, $16.2 million extension. Sources say, once again, make him the NFL's highest paid punter.
Yeah, now, a little thing that annoys me about all this making people the highest paid. They always say it resets the market. I looked into this a little bit. He's only actually like 0.2 million above whoever's second highest paid. So they've not reset the market with this at all. They've just given him 200 grand more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you can't just keep saying they've reset the market whenever somebody gets paid a little bit more. Like the jump in quarterback pay that's been over the last couple of years, that's been reset in the market.
Yeah, massively.
The running back pay's been reset in the market. But you can't just say because you paid someone 200 grand over their whole contract more than the next guy is resetting the market.
Yeah.
I also think it shows how little punters and kickers are paid.
We've said this so many times now.
But on the flip side of it, I also see that it kind of shows they don't do as much work as everybody else.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially the punters, unfortunately.
Browns free agent running back Nick Chubb agreeing to terms with the Texans on a 1-year deal.
Yeah, I can't find any info about
I looked as well.
Or anything like that.
Yeah, I did have a look. Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin, who is seeking a new deal and has been away from OTAs, has not attended minicamp in the last year of his deal. At 19.65 million, Terry McLaurin is set to take on fines of over 100k to send a message to the Commanders about his contract.
So he's going to get the same fine as Henderson and TJ Watt and that. But see, the downside to him doing it is he's getting up there in age. I'm trying to remember how old he is, but I'm sure he's like 30-ish. 29, so he'll be 30 in this season, I would have said.
It kind of needs to not fuck up your contract as a wide receiver going in at that age.
At the same time, he's probably thinking I'm the best wide receiver they've got. But you've definitely, as a 29-year-old receiver, you've definitely got to be a bit more careful than the young guys.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, he's a great receiver. I don't know if he's the playmaker he wants to believe. Just looking up his stats for last season. Isn't bad. I mean, 82 receptions for 1,096 yards, 13 touchdowns.
That's not terrible.
It's decent stats. He's been a 1,000 yarder for the last 5 years. And the year he wasn't a 1,000 yarder, 2019, he still had 919 yards.
That's still big time yards, isn't it?
So he's not a bad receiver, but I do think, as I say, with his age, he's got to be a bit more careful how he plays it.
Yeah. I've also just seen right now, because I scrolled back up to the top of our sheet, because I jumped straight down to Aaron Rodgers, all-pro wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown hasn't been participating in Detroit Lions off-season practices after going an off-season knee surgery. However, he anticipates being ready for training camp late July. Mate, if there's any receiver that I could do without being fit to fucking play, is Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, you guys got to play him twice. I mean, it'd be beneficial for us as well. We got to play him this year.
Lions are just.
I think on the flip side of that, if they can't throw it, they'll run the shit out of it at you. They've literally got two running backs that are big, given the nickname Sonic and Knuckles, and it's not for no reason. And Dan Campbell's been very vocal about being physical, so
they're a do anything kind of team. They can't throw it over you; they'll run it through you.
They're very much how the Eagles played last season.
But they were like that as well, anyway, weren't they?
Yeah, I think the season's going to get interesting this year. Who's guaranteed to come out on top? Because there's a lot of teams trying to make a climb this year, isn't there?
There's a lot of teams made big money plays this year.
Yeah.
Big money moves.
And some fairly big teams that made some big money moves that didn't make much last year. Bengals, Steelers, Seahawks. There was a few teams that should have been, with the teams they had, should have been further up, but they weren't.
Yeah.
And they're going to be looking to make those moves this year.
We'll see how that goes.
I've just had a notification. The Bengals, speaking of them, their rookie, Shamar Stewart, isn't happy with the Bengals. They can't get a team done because apparently he's quoted saying, "We all agree Trey will be all right, but technically he's still 1% wrong for being under contract. In my case, I'm 100% right." He's literally saying he's not signing his contract currently that they've offered.
Who's that? Trey Hendrickson said that?
No, Shamar Stewart.
Okay.
He's apparently not signing because he's right to not sign. He thinks Trey Hendrickson should take a deal that they offer, but he doesn't have to.
It's each to their own. You can't tell one to do it if you're not going to do it. if he doesn't feel that contract's right for him.
He's literally been drafted this year. Not even been signed to the team.
Fuck's sake, what a donut.
Sitting out of minicamp and everything, and I think
should have entered the draft.
He was their first round pick, but of course all these other teams have been given people like Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders, and all that have been getting fairly big contracts, haven't they? Ashton Genty, Cam Scatterboard have all had multi-million-pound contracts. So he wants a multi-million-pound contract.
Not gonna happen.
Especially not with Trey Hendrickson needing to be paid, and if they want to keep him, all their other players.
We'll see how that unfolds as we get closer to the.
I think the next week's going to show a lot of rookie contracts either being signed or being rejected.
Yeah, that should be next week's segment.
I think next week will be interested.
Rookies that fuck themselves over.
It's going to be one of them. It's going to be number one.
Right, I am done. How about you?
Yeah, that's everything.
That's everything for me. We will see you next week. Peace.